better upgrades out. I think he may have broken the back of TaiLS, but there's the well played out of Stephano. And TaiLS is going to take game 1 here, guys.
What a beautiful game number 1. Wow. And we still have 6 more possible games, man. This is awesome. Wow, just great game from TaiLS. Even Stephano had in the resource count.
Higher score, yeah.
But it was the upgrade.
He had TaiLS against the ropes that entire game. Just, you know, I pictured Rocky, man, where TaiLS is up, laying on the ropes, and Stephano's just going at his ribs, going hitting for the kid, and he's just pummeling him up against the ropes. But finally, when TaiLS rallied his strength and showed he was not going to be beaten there, he just took it right back to Stephano and took the game eventually, man.
Yeah, man. TaiLS being the player, just even going into this matchup, just looking like he's against the ropes, like Stephano's going to crush him, and just showing there with some resilience, some great upgrades, just some great play overall. He can definitely overcome Stephano. I really hope there's a wake-up call for some of the people out there that really are kind of against TaiLS, because he's a great player, and we're definitely seeing it here. Going into game number 2, Stephano says ready, exclamation mark. Let's make sure that TaiLS is ready to go. I'm going to question him, interrogate him, ready from him, even with the hyphen added in. Here we go, guys. Going into game number 2. We are not playing around here. MLG Shattered Temple. Gotta love the show match.
You know, one of the things I think that game may have boiled down to, Robin, was that feint push that we saw from TaiLS, where he pushed out on the map, Stephano made a ton of units, and then he fell back. And Stephano now had these units that he didn't actually want to push with, but he had, you know, he ended up doing a slight push with them because he had to do something with them, and he would have preferred to drop that 4th hatchery and continue droning up much, much, much more. And because of that, Stephano's economy was not where he wanted it to be as they moved into the late stages of the game until, you know, he got it there a good 2 minutes later because of that feint push from TaiLS.
So true, Kibbles. Spawning at the 1208 position is going to be coLMVPTAiLS. He is up 1-0 against the pink player down here in the bottom left corner. His name is Mného. Perhaps you've heard of him. He's won a couple of big tournaments. Did pretty well at MLG. He's just a good, overall, great Zerg player. It is going to be cross positions, though. And Stephano will be known that in a heartbeat or two, as he has this overlord flying in the top left corner. From here, you think he might go for 15 hatchery? We have been seeing him play this kind of safe style, getting the pull down first, but here he could definitely get away with the 15 hatch.
You know, he probably could. One of the reasons I think we see he's going with a very early pull, actually, an 11 pull, and that's a counter to if he thinks his opponent is going to go for a forward fast expand. We're not going to see that out of MVPTAiLS, though. And I feel like if I give his tagline, it should be the full one, Complexity MVPTAiLS. Stephano and TaiLS were almost teammates, my friend.
Almost, they were. A bit of a mishap between contracts and whatnot.
Yeah, I guess for a few days.
Yeah, for a few hours, I think, even. But yeah, they were almost teammates. And oh my gosh, what a great team they would have been in terms of practice. Just from this show match, you're just seeing these guys pretty darn close.
That was
in terms of matchups. Just I'm hoping that game 2 is half as exciting as game 1. Because game 1, usually you kind of have this, whatever, we get into a macro game, but it was just constant pressure from Stephano, great hold from TaiLS, and then TaiLS just falling with this amazing play to finish out the game. Getting into this game, I'm excited to see what we're going to see from each player. We do have the first gate and cybernetics core from TaiLS, so nothing too crazy. Standard play, especially from both players, is Stephano now going to go ahead and get up to that hatch, doing the same build he did the last game. The only thing a little bit different is TaiLS, instead of going for that fast expand, he'll be having that one gate up at the top of his ramp.
Here are 4 Zerglings on the way from Stephano, but there's not going to be much to punish at all. So these are just going to allow him to get some scouting intel. Last game, you know, we saw him be on 3 base before he even saw TaiLS' base. And in this situation, we're not going to see that, but this is a tough map for Zerg. And I think this may be why Stephano went for these very early links. If we recall back to IPL 3, when he went up against Inori on Tal'Darim Altar, he had to take a third extremely far away. And he lost to a 7 or an 8 gate out of Inori. Well, with this very early pull, he can get to work on these rocks very, very nice and early. He's got 4 Zerglings out already. Maybe we'll see him make like another 2 more or something, but I think he's going to put these Zerglings to work on these rocks that connect to his third so that he can take a nice, comfortable third and doesn't need to have a third base on the other side of the map, which he's really been shown to have a weakness against Protoss when he does that.
So true, as he starts beating down those rocks. Kibbles, why are you so smart? Why are you so smart, man? As we actually have
looking at it, 11 pull's a weird time, man, because I think the only forward fast expand that you're going to punish with that would be a Nexus first.
Yeah.
It's a really weird pool to go for, unless you want to get your Lings working really early. So I think this is something that Stephano probably does on Shattered Temple very often.
So true, man, so true. As well as getting that 11 pull, you'll be able to get out Queens a little bit faster. So it's really not that big of a hit, but yeah, definitely grabbing those Lings early, as you stated, really allows them to break down these rocks and grab that third so early. I'm going to have to steal this build from Stephano. It's so smart, especially with you over here commentating and telling me how to play the game, as we do have a second and a third gate going up for Tails in the top left corner. That warp gate technology is done. No.
Tails actually got a sentry trapped up in behind his gateway and his pylon.
Oh,
and that's actually all it can do from there. You know, that is like the permanent guardian of the ramp. It can just force field the ramp. Tails is not going to get counterattacked into his main once this game.
Yeah.
Because he's just got a dedicated sentry waiting there.
You shall not pass. What if he did that on purpose? I doubt it, but that'd be kind of funny if he did. Just to have force fields ready all the time, as we do have a few zealots and a couple of sentries running across the map.
But Stephano doesn't see this.
He
actually has a Zergling chasing the probe, and he doesn't see this, and his Lings are out of position just now running and seeing the proxy pylon and the Zealots warping in, but there are sentries and Zealots coming in. Stephano could easily end up dying to this 3-gate aggression so early on from Tails. He has some Lings, but they don't have speed yet. It's getting ready to wrap up, but the force field goes down on the ramp. There's only one Spine Crawler, but that may be enough to actually deter Tails back.
Yeah, it is actually. Spine Crawler does a lot of damage to Zealots, as long as you make sure the Zealots aren't able to get on top of the Spine Crawler. Spine Crawler is really great at dealing damage, but horrible at actually taking damage. So as long as he had a nice amount of Lings to buffer a lot of damage, did a little bit of micro, Stephano would have been fine there. I think Tails knew that. He went ahead and retreated home, as we do have a huge Ling force. Speed just finishing up, running across the map, and actually, there's not that much of a wall up here for Tails.
Oh, but he's going to get into position. Oh, he's bleeding out with a couple Zealots, but want to be careful there. But if Stephano had caught him out in the middle of the field, that would have been game. No question about it. Tails very intelligently pulls back extremely early after seeing that he's forced a lot of Lings out of Stephano, so immediately returned home as quickly as possible.
And look at that sentry wants to get out, tickling away that pylon. We do have a couple of force fields going down, but that will allow Stephano to run out there. And that's good. A couple of force fields wasted for no Lings, definitely worth it. Trying to get that energy level low for when you do get ready for an attack against your opponent. Even a second Spine Car going down for Stephano here. He wants to make sure he's nice and safe. A couple of Lings patrolling the area, looking for any proxies or anything. I really enjoy this type of play from Zerg players, having Lings at the ready, looking around, trying to find anything that might throw you off. It also allows you to see maybe some Warp Prism plays if you have Lings just running everywhere, just scouting the map, if you will. Looking back into the main, Stephano getting a second gas lair on the way. We do have an evolution chamber being started up as well. I haven't seen a roach one yet, so you might stick with this Ling composition, maybe follow up with some kind of infestors. He's got some great infestor play from a lot of the matches that we saw. In the bottom right corner, that third is finishing up as well. Now checking over into the main and natural of Tails, we do have a gateway on the way, a couple of gases as well, so he does have a total of, it looks like, 5 gates, and that Twilight Council. Going to be starting that blink. Bam! There goes that Chrono Boost, getting 10 more seconds faster blink out.
Now I wonder, are we going to see this time around Tails go for a gateway timing attack? Definitely a possibility. He's got the Zealots and Sentries already that he needs, and can add some Stalkers into the mix from here. But it doesn't look, with the quantity of gateways we're seeing right now, which is 5, I believe?
Yeah,
5.
5.
5 gate, maybe +1, maybe +2 Blink Stalker. But, you know, with how he's taking down these rocks, I don't know if we're going to particularly see him go for a powerful timing attack. You know, he beat Stephano last time by getting that third base and getting it fairly quickly. So maybe that's what we're going to see from him again here.
Yeah, look at
that is a quick blink.
Look at this, though. Stephano actually hiding some Lings in the top left corner. He's going to try and snipe this Nexus right when it gets put down so we can get 400 minerals ahead in terms of income loss against his opponent. But we do have a small push running across the map, some Stalkers, as well as Zealots and Sentries, and those Lings are going to bring back that army of Tails there. Just going to make sure that he won't be losing any probes. Will Stephano go ahead and try and force an engagement? No, he's content with just denying that third for a tad bit longer. A few Stalkers running on in here, and he actually can surround those Stalkers. Is he paying attention? He could kill off a couple of free units there.
They could definitely. Oh, they don't have Blink. Blink just finishes, and some force fields do go down. But with that attempt at a push from Tails, he did force out 32 speedlings from Stephano. Stephano not yet saturated on any bases except his main, so still wants those drones, you know. And we see 7 more on the way right now, which is going to be just enough to finish saturating those bases. And he cleans up the rocks at his gold so he can drop an expansion there. But look at the incredible creep spread coming out of Stephano, getting out towards the middle of the map while simultaneously expanding towards the right-hand side and those endgame 4th and 5th bases, but now we do see Tails moving out towards the middle of the map, and this could be very dangerous for him, as Stephano has a huge quantity of links somewhere. I can't quite find them. Down towards his natural. Not quite enough to take on that army yet, but now 12 Mutalisks coming to reinforce, and I think that is enough to push Tails back. And I think he's sensing it. We see a lot of these feint pushes from Tails, where he goes out, likes to force some units, and then goes back home.
I like it. It really, again, as we always keep hitting on, it really forces her to quit droning so hard and pop out units. Just be ready for that defense. So you pull on back, and they're like, oh, I didn't want those units quite yet. And it's just a stagger, if you will. So you can get your third up and kind of be even in terms of drone counts. We do have a huge flock of mutants flying to the top right corner. We're going to have a total of 17 on the field. A huge number, especially off a 3 base. I wonder how he got so much gas off of there. Oh yeah, it's because he was on Lings the whole entire time. Muta's flying into the main in a couple of seconds, may be able to ravish some of Tails' economy here, because there's no photon cannons. The stalkers are actually sitting outside of the natural at the low, and we do have, it looks like, have Lings running to the natural as well. So these Mutas doing a lot of damage, killing a nice number of probes. There was a bit of a blink wasted there. Gonna go straight for that assimilator. At the same time, there is a counterattack going to the third, gonna be attacking a lot of the gateways, and look, all the Mutas do get on out. Did he save them all? Yes, he even got one added onto as he created one at home. Those Lings try and take some of those gateways out, but unfortunately with that photon cannon being there, they're going to have to run on out. Looking at the workers killed count, 11 was killed there, and that's fine for Stephano.
Yeah, he definitely got enough workers with that attack. Worker count now favoring Stephano 68 to 55. If we had added those 11 workers, Tails would have actually been ahead. So one of the things we've noticed about Tails is he really likes to kind of hover on 3 base. And we'll see if we see that again from this game. Probably going to take the gold as his next expansion. Pretty good choice on this map, Shattered Temple. But I think this is a great map for Stephano. I want to see, is he going for melee upgrades? He is. I think this is a fantastic map for Stephano to use that end game composition that he really likes with, meanwhile, some Lings coming in here. Guardian Shield going down. Stalkers going to repel them, though. Did manage to snipe a few sentries, which are going to be clutch because he's going for this very heavy Ling composition. But as I was saying, Stephano, I think he may be going for this really quick, I call it Skyzerg style with the Mass Broodlord Mass Corruptor. You know, he's going to be pulling a lot of gas from all these Lings. At first, I think we're going to see Infestors out of him, as he is right now getting Infestors in. Maybe open with some Ling Roach Infestor with a couple Mutas in there.
Yeah, a couple.
But maybe an endgame. He's getting a really quick hive, and I wonder, is this hive just for adrenal glands? Or does he have some intention to move into that late-game ZVP that we've seen from him before?
You know what? Tails has been doing a great job, though, of deterring these Mutas. So he always has Stalkers available. It just seems to have a good idea of where Stephano might be going with the Mutas. Has Stalkers here going to blink in, get a couple of Mutas killed off. It's really hard for a Protoss player to hold off Mutas because they can really just, with that speed and mobility, and of course that high level of DPS they do a lot of damage to your economy. And for the most part, Tails has been doing a pretty good job. He's behind 92 to 70. Probes right now, but as a Protoss player, you only need about 75 to 80, and then you're pretty good as long as you smack up a nice army. Here we go, more Mutas on the way though, but the Stalker's still here, just waiting as we do have that 4th and 5th hatchery being taken up at the top right corner. Oh, I'm sorry, that'd be the 5th and 6th because we got that gold being taken as well. Do have a couple of DTs warping on in. We got one running out of the bottom left corner and a couple running across the map, so we'll have to keep an eye on those bad boys as they have a chance to possibly do a lot of damage.
The timing of this is so perfect. Going for the 5th expansion of Stephano, not actually going for the other one though, but getting these hatcheries that are under construction, and that could really hamper the production and the late game economy of Stephano if he doesn't reestablish those immediately. So right now, sniping that hatchery up top, probably going to force the cancel on that. There's pretty much no way he's going to get detection there in time. Meanwhile, Dark Templar, as you said, moving into the natural, killing some workers, but Stephano has 91 workers, economically still in a great position.
Yeah, and that third being grabbed right away. Going to go ahead and drone up once again. It's only lost a few drones. May have to create a couple. There we go. Going to throw down a couple of Spore Claws and a couple of Sprines. We do have the DT. Did cancel that hatchery in the top right corner as he does run on down here. Going to try and hinder this 4th as well. At the same time, though, Tails getting ready for a push here. Trying to get Stephano out of position for this huge engagement that possibly be happening in this near future.
Yeah, it does look like he is moving out across the board, and I wonder how hard he's going to push with this. There are so many spine crawlers defending the gold and natural of Stephano. I don't know that we're going to see him quite push into that once he sees the number of spines in there, and it looks like he is choosing to engage. But this is literally like hacking through a jungle, Robin. He is just going to be killing spine after spine after spine.
Well, he is in a good position here where a surround really isn't possible for Stephano here. A couple of force fields go down after a couple of fungals as Muta's doing as much damage as possible, but there's so many stalkers with that +2 upgrade. The Mutas do fall. There were a couple of fungals, but for the most part, Tails retained most of his army, and of course, as those force fields falls, he stutter steps back just a tad bit, throws down some more force fields, but here's some Broodlords ready to go, and they're